Hello and welcome to a midweek Wardy's Waffle Farm update. Just before I get into what we've been doing on the farm, I just wanted to touch on a couple of things that surfaced over the last couple of days, and quite big hard-hitting things really that will affect the industry. One is ELMS, the environmental land management scheme that is well publicised. It's been 6 years in the making now, and they're starting to roll it out soon. Well, they were, except DEFRA held a behind the closed doors meeting yesterday. Some of you have seen this on social media, and it was meant to have been kept in a room and kept quiet because they're now questioning whether that is actually going to happen, and they are thinking of ditching it, which is unbelievable to think that it's been 6 years in the making. We've got BPS is starting or has been starting to be wound down over the last 3 years. We're now, I think, at 50% where we were, and that's a basic payment scheme. For those of you who follow this channel, not quite sure what that means, and that's the money we get paid. We've been getting paid for producing food, and I think you could actually say, and over the years gone by, that's a subsidy. It used to be called the CAP, which is a Common Agricultural Policy. And just to touch on that, I think it's actually worth pointing out that yes, us farmers have had the money, but it's actually meant that every single person living in the UK has benefited from that, because it's given cheap food and it's maintained production in the past in return for affordable food. But I think with the way we're going at the minute with cost of living and food, I don't think it's done us any favours, us being the third cheapest food in the world, which we have been for a number of years, with America being the cheapest and Singapore being second. But anyway, that's another thing. But yeah, this ELMS thing, it's just unbelievable to think that we've been all these years in the making, and now that it's looking to be ditched, and there's no certainty. You know, the government really, again, are not backing food production and farming and the environment, and all they want to do is import food, which is absolutely ludicrous, and it's so short-sighted and more damaging to the environment than it is not with all the food miles. Anyway, that's one thing that has hit the headlines and needs looking at, and also keeping it in the room. I'm two schools of thoughts here. Yes, DEFRA said that they wanted to keep it in the room with the discussions. There was various farming bodies there and individuals there, and it was meant to be kept quiet. And you can actually, I can see it both ways, that we need to be involved in this dialogue and discussion with DEFRA to shape the future. But if these things are got out, then are they going to ask farming bodies and individuals to go into discussions? But at the same time, why should it be kept quiet? Because we all need to be part of it and know what's happening. So it's a bit of a difficult one, that is. Anyway, the other thing I just wanted to touch on was it's also surfaced quite a lot of videos on social media of George Eustice saying how bad the Australian and New Zealand trade deals are for British agriculture. We all knew that at the time, but he said at the time, when it was done last year, that it was good, and this is the clip of him actually saying that.
Australia is a very important partner of ours. It's important that we get a trade agreement with them. It is, of course, a smaller economy, and the opportunities are therefore not as large as they would be with a large economy, but nevertheless, Australia is important allies, and this is a good agreement between us.
So that's what he said at the time, and of course now he's said something totally different. Now he's not a minister, and now he's not in office. He's able to talk openly and say what's been going on. But the problem is, if he didn't agree with this at the time or knew it was bad, why did he agree to it? Why did he go along with it? And it's the same for other MPs. You've got Liz Truss, who was head of trade at the time, agreeing to these things. And the problem we had is when she became Prime Minister for that short period, she obviously had the backing of some of these ministers that agreed to this Australian-New Zealand trade deal, knowing it was bad for our country. It just shows what a mess the Conservatives are in. And George Eustice actually said in this video, and I'll put it up in a second, he actually said, we actually gave away far too much for far too little in return. Why on earth did you sign it? Why on earth did you agree to it? And why on earth didn't you speak up at the time? It's absolutely ludicrous. And this is the clip of what he's just said just now.
I was in the Cabinet in 2021, and I was in this Cabinet subcommittee that argued over the Australian trade deal. For yes, there were deep arguments and differences over how we should approach this. But since I now enjoy the freedom of the backbenches, I no longer have to put such a positive gloss on what was agreed. And I hope that my honourable friend will understand my reason for doing this. And that is that unless we recognise the failures that the Department for International Trade made during the Australia negotiations, we won't be able to learn the lessons of future negotiations. And there are critical negotiations underway right now, notably on CPTPP and on Canada. And it is essential that the Department for International Trade does not repeat the mistakes it made. And so the first step is to recognise that the Australia trade deal is not actually a very good deal for the UK. It wasn't for lack of trying on my part. Indeed, as my old friend pointed out, there were things that we achieved. It's no surprise that many of these areas were areas negotiated either exclusively or predominantly by DEFRA on behalf of the UK team. But it has to be said that overall, the truth of the matter is that the UK gave away far too much for far too little in return.
So on to this week's update. What have we got for you? We take a detailed look at the rest of our drilling. We had quite a good weekend drilling. You saw some of the drilling we did on Saturday in Sunday morning's update. We've got some more drilling from Sunday and Monday in this update, and that's good, and we're pleased to get a lot of that done. I also have a bit of an update on our sugar beet lifting and what else we've got left to do work-wise on the farm in the next few weeks. We did a bit of spraying as well. I did some pre-emergent spraying as well on one of the fields we drilled, and we've actually loaded some barley out as well. So we've got that last of our malting barley has gone, the last load of our 9-load contract, so that's gone. So thanks very much for watching this update. Hope you enjoy it. Please click like, subscribe and the bell icon to alert you when I post my videos, which are every Sunday morning at 8 AM, and if there's enough going on in a week, I post a midweek one such as this. So thanks very much for watching, and here we go. It's Sunday morning. Just starting a bit more drilling. Tom's just unfolding the drill. He's got probably 300 kilos in the drill, and then here we've got about 1.5 tons in there. That's full. So not the best of weather. Foggy start, and it talks to this all day now, whereas yesterday today was meant to be a sunny day. Just what we don't need really, but we can't do anything about it. We'll just crack on and get it in the best we can. First run of the day. If it's a bit unduly sticky, yeah, you can just see the back roller soil flying off it. That's the worst part of it. It'll stick to that a bit until the fog clears. Drilling's going well, considering it's the middle of November and we're trialling sticky clay and silt soils. Not many other drills will put the seed in these conditions. All as well. When you look at that, no seed out on top whatsoever. That pheasant's going to have to move in a minute. Drilling's going well in the mist today, Sunday, in the field, but on the headlands it's not brilliant. You can just see on the outside here, you can see there how solid it is and still wet there. It's fast there. The Vardastat NZ harrow that Ruben used a few days ago has done some good. It's got some of it fetched up, but it's left some of it there in the fast, so we'll hopefully the Simba drill will put it in all right. It won't be brilliant. We're putting more seeds on the headland. See there, it's doing a really good job. Front tines on the drill, really scratch it up, loosen it. auto headland turn sequence set up. So Tom there's not turning it, he's got it all set so the tractor's turning itself. Just a minute though, it's not turning how you would do it manually, it goes away out wide and kicks back this way, you can see. That's all done automatically. Dropping the drill down in the ground. Yeah, you can see here it's doing a decent job here. No seed out on top anywhere. See if we can find some. Yeah, there we go. You see there. So it's nicely buried it out the way of the slugs. Gonna have to watch for slugs here because it is a bad field for slugs. See some more seed there. So it is putting it in a nice depth. We're getting on well with the drilling. We're just on our last field now, apart from two fields that one has got sugar beet in it and one that is worked and has had sugar beet in it. Now those sugar beet fields, we've got some seed called a variety called cranium of winter wheat in the bags in another shed ready for those. But the field that we're just drilling is the last of the continuous wheat fields, just about run out of seed. So I'm just going to put some of this untreated seed in the shed in this hopper. I'm going to load it with our grain bucket here. Yeah, it'll spill out over the side here, but it won't matter, it will just drop on the heap here, and then we'll just finish off with this rather than buy any more seed. There we are, that's got that full. We've just got to the area in the field where Agri have their where Agri got their trial plot. So we're just having to drill some across the end here. There's all the various trials that Agri put in about probably a month ago now. Lovely soil this end of the field, you can see here. Really lovely, easy working soil. You could actually go sugar beet on this part of the field, but the rest of the field across there, you couldn't. A lot of straw here. Should cope with it and mix it in well. Beautiful, look at that. Levelled it out a treat. Got the last load of our molten barley contract going this morning. Those of you who saw the video a few weeks ago have taken it to a neighbour's farm to be put through that machine called a colour sorter to have ergot taken out of it, and we've got this contract with front here, you can see on the side of their trailer. I'm back in the field that you saw me spraying with glyphosate, and we got it drilled last night, which is great, and you can see in a minute when I turn the camera around how good it went in, how well it went in. I'm putting on a pre-emergence herbicide here of 0.3 of a litre a hectare of Giddo and 0.6 of a litre a hectare of Pontos, and these are the only herbicide we'll use for grass weed control. We don't use Avadex. We've got our blackgrass levels down now so low that the next time we look at grass weed control here, we'll be hand roguing in May. You can see it's misty again today. We've just got one more field to drill after sugar beet, which you'll see in a minute, and just see a little bit of greenery here showing, but that's had glyphosate on it, so that'll be fine. But you can just see here, looking across, how well it's gone in. You can see across there, these are the Agri trial plots that were planted a few weeks ago. Remember seeing my videos? You can see the small width, and we've gone all around them, and I'm going to be spraying through that in a minute, but we've drilled all around the plots, which is fine, and they'll be harvested and treated separately. Half of them will, and half will be treated the same as this field. And the idea of this pre-emergent spray is to actually seal the soil surface and coat it, so then when it stops any grass weeds, any problem things coming through. I've just got out the cab to have a look at the soil surface and just show you how well it was drilled yesterday and what good conditions it is for November. There you go. just see it's still not too bad. It's a bit tacky, but perfect conditions for this pre-emergence herbicide to work. No seed on top, which is great. Little bit of sewage sludge there, you can see, because this field had 17 tonnes per hectare of sewage sludge, so round about, what's that, 7 tonnes an acre, maybe something like that. Another good thing with these wheels on this sprayer, I know this sprayer's going, we've got a new one coming early in the new year, but it's on very similar wheels to this. But look at the minimal soil damage from this. Just printed it, and that's it, that's all. No deep treads, we don't like deep treads on these. We haven't got any hills to climb, so very shallow tread on these tyres, which is good. These are 710 millimetres wide. They're Trelleborgs, these are. But yeah, really good tyres for our job, because we don't like deep pleated tyres, especially on sugar beet and other crops like that. And I say, with no hills, so these are fine. So yeah, I'm just going to go around now and spray through this plot. It hasn't had a herbicide yet, but it'll be all right. The products I've got in are fine spraying those after it's come up like it has there. Just going with the seed now to the last field we've got to drill, which is 20 acres after sugar beet. This is the trailer we use, the Iford Williams trailer, and put a couple of hoppers on. So 3 tonne there and a half a tonne with the trailer. So that's your 3.5 tonne gross behind the Manitou as well, which is great. We made a little adapter hook to go in, so that we can welded a ball joint onto a bracket that we made, and that way we can tow it behind the Manitou, which is great. And just spot Tom drilling in the mist. Good job. This is our last field, apart from the one field that we've still got sugar beet in. And when you look, I think it's going all right in the field, but this headland won't be brilliant. When you look here, we did it with the Varnestat NZ, but you can see it's still fast here, very plasticine there. That's not going to go very well. So we'll put plenty of seed on this headland and just hope for the best. Obviously it turns on the packers, and you can see where it's turned, and this is one slight issue with the free flow when it's really wet. But doing the headlands last, the seed, hopefully the drill will get underneath this. We used to do the headlands first, and then you'd be left with all this effect here after the drilling, and that didn't look so good. So that's it before we get on it. So you can just see, looking at my hand here, some of the lumps quite big, but it'll be okay. If there's any drill going to put it in, this one will. We'll put extra seed on it, be fine. Come on, Nala, come on. So you saw in my update on Sunday, we changed the wheels on this fast track and put these wide 710 flotations on, ready to broadcast some wheat. But as you'll have seen, the drilling went better than expected, and even headlands we managed to drill, and we put a bit extra seed on, and we didn't need to broadcast any. But we've still got 30 acres of sugar beet in the ground, and hopefully we'll need to get that in with wheat if we can. So we still might end up using this tractor on our Kuhn pneumatic spreader and broadcasting the wheat. But that's where we are, sort of progress update. So we're well on with things now. It's just this sugar beet, 30 acres left in the ground. But we've also 60 acres roughly of sugar beet up on the heath that we won't lift till January. So that's where we are, a bit of a progress update. Just driving past one of the first fields of wheat we planted, looking good down the row, growing nicely. This is a variety called Gleam, and the first time we've grown it, and it's done very well and very consistent over the last few years, I think, nationally. So hopefully it'll be good for us. Lovely sunny day here today after the fog and rain of the last 2 or 3 days. So that's it for another midweek update. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. You'll see we've had a good session getting a lot of the drilling done, and the only bit we didn't manage to get in was the bit down this hedge side behind me in this late lifted sugar beet field, but it's only a small area the size of a tennis court, so I'm not too concerned about that. The majority of the field went in really well. And then of course you've got the field next door was our early lifted sugar beet, and now you can see how well that wheat looks, and it just shows the difference between early lifted sugar beet. You can get some good crops of wheat in after that compared to later lifting, but it's just something we have to deal with. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please click like, subscribe and the bell icon to alert you of my videos, and hope you've enjoyed it. Come back with any questions and comments. I always try and answer you if I can, and we'll see you next time.